Look at your right hand. Are you afraid that one day someone will force you to put a mark on it? For 50 years, the pulpits and the news have told us the same story. First, it was the barcode, then the credit card, then the RFID chip, and now, artificial intelligence. Stop. What if I told you that we have been looking at this all wrong? What if 6066 is not a warning about future technology, but an ancient code that has already been solved? I understand the fear. Truly I do. We live in a world of surveillance, of control. Digital currencies are rising. Privacy is disappearing. It is easy, so easy, to open the book of Revelation and see our modern fears reflected in its pages. But ask yourself this simple question. If the mark of the beast is a microchip or a barcode, then what about the Christians who lived in the 1st century, or the 10th century, or the 18th century? Did God's warning mean nothing to them? The Bible was written for us, but it was not written to us. It was written to real people, facing real tyrants, in a time long before electricity was even discovered. To understand the future, we must first travel back to the past, to a time of swords and shadows, where speaking a name could get you killed, and where a number was the only way to tell the truth. In the next 10 minutes, I am going to show you the true identity of the beast, and I promise you, by the end of this video, you will stop fearing. Let's decode the mystery. Imagine you are John. You are a prisoner on the island of Patmos. The Roman Empire is hunting down Christians. If you write a letter explicitly calling the emperor a beast, you are signing your own death warrant, and the death warrant of anyone found reading it. So what do? You use a code that your enemies would ignore, but your brothers and sisters would instantly understand. In the ancient world, they didn't have separate symbols for numbers like 1, 2, or 3. They used letters. This practice is called Gematria. Every name has a number. If I add up the numerical value of the letters in your name, I get your number. It was a common puzzle in the 1st century. Now let's look at the most terrifying tyrant of John's time. The man who blamed Christians for the great fire of Rome. The man who used believers as human torches in his garden. Caesar Nero. Let's apply the ancient code. When you write the Greek title Nero Caesar into Hebrew letters, it becomes Neron Caesar. Now do the math with me. Nun is 50. Resh is 200. Vav is 6. Add them all up. The sum is exactly 6. This is not a coincidence. It is a mathematical fingerprint. But wait. There is more evidence. Some ancient manuscripts of the Book of Revelation actually have a different number. They say 616, not 666. Why? Does this disprove the Bible? No. It actually confirms the identity of Nero. Because if you spell Nero Caesar the Latin way, dropping the final N, the value drops by 50, giving you exactly 616. Whether you speak Hebrew or Latin, the code points to the same man. So the beast was not a supercomputer from the 21st century. It was a government that demanded worship. But this leads us to the most important question. If 6 is Nero, what is the mark on the forehead and the hand? Is it still relevant to us today? The answer lies not in technology, but in your heart. So if the beast was a Roman system, what about the mark on the forehead and the right hand? This is where we must let the Bible interpret the Bible. Long before Revelation was written, God gave a command to his people in Deuteronomy chapter 6. He said, "Love the Lord your God with all your heart. Tie these commandments as symbols on your hands and bind them on your foreheads." Was God asking the Israelites to get tattoos or microchips? Of course not. The forehead represents your loyalty, what you believe, who you serve in your mind. The hand represents your actions, what you do, how you live your life. The mark of the beast is a counterfeit. Satan mimics God. Just as God seals his people with faith and obedience, the beast marks his people with rebellion and compromise. It is not a physical stamp. It is a spiritual allegiance. Listen to me closely. You cannot take the mark of the beast accidentally. You won't get it from a vaccine, a credit card swipe, or walking through a scanner. God is not looking for a reason to send you to hell over a technicality. The mark is a choice. A conscious choice to reject Christ and worship the systems of this world. If you love Jesus, if your mind is set on him, and your hands do his work, then rejoice. You are not marked by the beast. You are sealed by the Holy Spirit. So stop looking at your hand with fear. Look at your heart with faith. Prophecy was not given to scare us into bunkers. It was given to prepare us, to be the light in a dark world. God has not given us a spirit of fear, but of power and of love and of a sound mind. Live your life, love your family, serve your neighbor. That is the only seal that matters. If this video brought you the peace of mind you've been looking for, please hit the like button. And more importantly, share this with a friend or family member who is living in fear of the end times. Let's help them find freedom too. But the mysteries of Revelation don't end here. You've heard of the 4 horsemen of the apocalypse: war, famine, plague, death. Are they just symbols? Or are they already riding among us right now? In the next video, we will track their hoofbeats through history to find the truth. You don't want to miss it. Subscribe and click the bell icon so you are notified the moment it goes live. God bless you. We have traveled through history, decoded ancient numbers, and unmasked the fears that have haunted us for generations. We have seen that the mark is not a microchip to be feared, but a loyalty to be chosen. But knowledge alone is not enough. The mind may understand, yet the heart often remains anxious. To truly find peace, we must walk back further than the time of Nero, to the dusty roads of Galilee, where the Master walked. Imagine walking beside him. He knew the empires of this world would rise and fall. He knew the tyrants who would demand worship. Yet, his message was never one of panic or survivalism. It was a message of the kingdom, a kingdom not of fear, but of an unshakable inner peace. Let us listen to his voice, for in his dialogue with the people of old, we find the answers to our modern trembling. Here are 10 spiritual truths to anchor your soul. 1. The sanctuary of the mind. True safety is not found in escaping the systems of the world, but in guarding the sanctuary of your own mind. We often fear external controls, laws, technologies, or economic shifts, forgetting that the only territory the enemy truly seeks to conquer is your peace. If your mind is stayed on God, no external mark can claim you. It was evening by the Sea of Galilee, and the wind began to howl, shaking the small boat. The disciples, terrified by the waves crashing over the bow, shook the sleeping master. "Teacher!" Peter cried, his voice trembling. "Do you not care that we are perishing? The storm is too great for us." Jesus stood, not looking at the waves, but at the fear in their eyes. "Peace, be still," he whispered to the wind, and the sea turned to glass. He turned to them, his voice gentle yet piercing. "Why are you so afraid? Do you still have no faith? The storm is outside the boat, Peter. Do not let it enter your heart. As long as I am here, the chaos of the world cannot touch the peace within you." 2. The currency of the soul. We worry about the mark controlling our ability to buy and sell, fearing we will be excluded from the economy. However, the Bible reminds us that while we must live in the world, we do not belong to it. The image on the coin may belong to Caesar, but the image on your soul belongs to your Creator. Your value is not determined by your bank account, but by whose image you bear. A group of Pharisees approached him, holding a Roman denarius, testing him about loyalty to the empire. "Teacher, is it lawful to pay taxes to Caesar or not?" Jesus took the coin, his thumb brushing over the cold metal face of the emperor. "Whose image and inscription is this?" he asked. "Caesar's," they replied. Jesus looked up, scanning the faces of the crowd. "Then render to Caesar the things that are Caesar's," he said, handing the coin back. "But render to God the things that are God's. This coin bears the image of a man who thinks he is a god. But you bear the image of the true, living God. Do not sell that birthright for any price the world offers." 3. The seal of the Spirit versus the mark of fear. There is no middle ground. You are either sealed by faith or marked by fear. The mark of the beast is the ultimate expression of fear, a compromise made to save one's earthly life. The seal of God is the ultimate expression of love, a courage that trusts God even in the face of death. You cannot accidentally lose God's seal. It is forged in the fires of your love for Him. Thomas sat by the fire, looking at his hands. "Lord," he asked quietly, "the prophets speak of a time of great tribulation. How will we know if we belong to you when the darkness comes?" Jesus placed a hand on Thomas's shoulder. "Thomas, do you see the sheep on the hill? The shepherd marks them so he knows they are his. But I do not mark you with paint or brand you with iron. I seal you with my Spirit. The world will try to mark you with terror, to make you bow to its idols to save your skin. But if you love me, you are already sealed. Fear not those who kill the body, but cannot kill the soul. You are mine, and no one can snatch you out of my hand." 4. The true temple is within. We obsess over the physical temple, the physical body, and physical markings. But God looks at the spiritual condition. A microchip is mere plastic and silicon. It cannot defile a man. What defiles a man is the rebellion, hatred, and disbelief that proceeds from the heart. A woman in the crowd, anxious about the laws of purity, asked, "Lord, there are so many rules to stay clean. What if we touch something unclean? What if we are marked by the filth of this world?" Jesus called the crowd closer. "Listen and understand. It is not what goes into the mouth that defiles a person, nor what touches the skin. It is what comes out of the mouth that defiles a person. For out of the heart come evil thoughts, murder, adultery, and false witness. These are what mark a man. Do not fear the dirt of the world, daughter. Fear the hardness of a heart that has forgotten how to love." 5. The futility of anxious forethought. Modern prophecies often sell fear about the future, causing us to hoard, panic, and build bunkers. But Jesus taught that anxiety is a form of practical atheism. It acts as if God does not exist in the future. Preparing is wisdom. Panicking is a lack of trust. Looking at the faces of the multitude, worried about their next meal and the oppression of Rome, Jesus pointed to the lilies growing wild in the field. "Look at them," he said, smiling. "They do not toil, neither do they spin. Yet I tell you, even Solomon, in all his glory, was not arrayed like one of these. If God so clothes the grass of the field, which is alive today and tomorrow is thrown into the oven, will he not much more clothe you, O you of little faith? Therefore do not be anxious about tomorrow, asking, 'What shall we eat?' or 'How shall we survive the coming days?' Your heavenly Father knows you need them. Seek first his kingdom, and the rest will be added to you. 6. The light that cannot be hidden. The mark represents conformity to the darkness of the world system. But we are called to be non-conformists. We are not meant to hide in fear of the dark, but to shine so brightly that the darkness is exposed. Prophecy should not drive us into caves. It should drive us into the marketplace to share hope. You are the light of the world, Jesus told them as they sat on the mount. A city set on a hill cannot be hidden. Nor do people light a lamp and put it under a basket to keep it safe. They put it on a stand, and it gives light to all in the house. Andrew asked, "But Lord, the wind is strong. What if it blows our light out?" "The wind will blow, Andrew," Jesus replied, "but the light I give is not a flickering candle. It is a fire. The more the wind of persecution blows, the brighter the fire will burn. Do not hide your light to save it. Shine, so that men may see your good works and glorify your Father in heaven." 7. Loyalty is an action, not a symbol. The hand in prophecy represents our deeds. It is easy to say we believe, but our actions reveal our true master. We fear a chip in the hand, but we should fear a hand that is closed to the poor, a hand that strikes in anger, or a hand that steals. The true mark of God is a hand extended in charity. A young rich ruler ran up to him and knelt. "Good teacher, what must I do to inherit eternal life? I have kept all the commandments since my youth." Jesus looked at him and loved him. "One thing you lack," he said. "Go, sell all that you have and give to the poor, and you will have treasure in heaven. And come, follow me." The man's face fell, and he went away sorrowful, for he had great possessions. Jesus turned to the disciples. You see, his forehead knew the law, but his hand could not let go of the world. You cannot serve God and mammon. Where your treasure is, there your heart and your loyalty will be also. 8. The counterfeit peace versus the true peace. The beast offers a counterfeit peace. Submit to me, take my mark, and you will be safe. It is a peace based on control. Jesus offers a true peace. Trust in me, and you will be free. The world trades freedom for safety. The kingdom trades safety for freedom in God. "Peace I leave with you, my peace I give to you," Jesus said in the upper room, knowing the cross was near. "Not as the world gives do I give to you. The world gives peace only when the sword is sheathed and the belly is full. My peace remains even when the sword is drawn and the cup is bitter. Let not your hearts be troubled, neither let them be afraid. In the world you will have tribulation. But take heart, I have overcome the world." 9. The wisdom of the serpent, the gentleness of the dove. We are not called to be ignorant. We must understand the times, recognize the Neros of our age, and navigate the systems of the world with intelligence. God does not honor foolishness. He calls us to be sharp in our discernment, but gentle in our spirit, avoiding the traps of the enemy without becoming hateful like the enemy. "Behold, I am sending you out as sheep in the midst of wolves," Jesus instructed the 12. "Therefore be wise as serpents and innocent as doves. Beware of men, for they will deliver you over to courts." "Lord," James asked, "should we then fight them?" "No," Jesus answered. "When they persecute you in one town, flee to the next. Do not fight with their weapons. Use your wisdom to discern their traps, but keep your spirit pure. Do not let the darkness of the wolf turn you into a wolf. Stay a sheep, for the shepherd protects the sheep. 10. The final victory is already won. The book of Revelation is not a tragedy. It is a comedy in the classical sense. It has a happy ending. We read it with trembling, but we should read it with triumph. The beast may rage, the number may be counted, but the Lamb has already conquered. Our life is not a struggle to survive. It is a march toward victory. It was after the resurrection, by the shore. Peter was anxious about his future and the future of John. "Lord, what about this man?" Jesus replied, "If it is my will that he remains until I come, what is that to you? You follow me." He looked at them all, his voice echoing with the authority of eternity. "All authority in heaven and on earth has been given to me. Go, therefore. Do not look for signs of the end with terror. Look for me. For behold, I am with you always, to the end of the age. The rulers of this age will pass away. Their names and their numbers will be forgotten dust. But my word, and those who keep it, will stand forever." Here are philosophies 11 through 30, continuing the journey of connecting the historical truth of the prophecy with the living, breathing wisdom of Jesus. Each entry is designed to be a bridge, walking you from the anxiety of the end times back to the peace of the present moment. 11. The idol of absolute safety. We often mistake safety for salvation. The spirit of the beast promises security in exchange for freedom and conscience, but the kingdom of God is not safe in the way the world defines it. It is a kingdom of dangerous love. To seek a life completely free of risk is to idolize control, and control is the very nature of the enemy. Peter took him aside, rebuking him for speaking of his coming suffering and death. "Far be it from you, Lord," Peter whispered urgently. "This shall not happen to you. We must protect you. We must stay safe." Jesus turned, his eyes flashing not with anger at Peter, but at the lie Peter spoke. "Get behind me, Satan. You are an offense to me, for you are not mindful of the things of God, but the things of men. For whoever desires to save his life will lose it, but whoever loses his life for my sake will find it. Peter, do not trade your soul for a shield. The only true safety is in the center of the Father's will, even if that will lead to a cross." 12. The wealth that cannot be confiscated. The fear of the mark is often the fear of poverty, of being cut off from the marketplace. But if your treasure is physical, you are already vulnerable to the systems of this world. If your treasure is spiritual, character, love, and faith, no emperor, no government, and no economic collapse can bankrupt you. He sat opposite the treasury, watching the rich putting in large sums, their coins clattering loudly for all to hear. Then a poor widow came and dropped in 2 small copper coins, worth only a fraction of a penny. Jesus beckoned his disciples. "Truly I tell you, this poor widow has put in more than all of them, for they all contributed out of their abundance, but she, out of her poverty, has put in everything she had, all she had to live on. Do not fear the days of scarcity, for she has found a wealth that Rome cannot tax and thieves cannot steal. She has given her trust, and that is a currency heaven always honors." 13. The power of the whisper. The systems of the world, like the Roman Empire or modern media, rely on noise, propaganda, and loud threats to instill fear. The beast roars, but God does not shout to be heard. His seal is placed upon us in the quietness of intimacy. If you are addicted to the noise of the news, you will miss the whisper of the Spirit. The crowds pressed around him, shouting, demanding signs, Their voice is a cacophony of need and skepticism. Jesus withdrew to a desolate place to pray. John found him there in the silence of the early morning. "Master, everyone is looking for you. The crowd is loud. They want a king who shouts back at Rome." Jesus stood, the peace of the morning clinging to him. The kingdom of God does not come with observation or loud shouts, John. It is like leaven hidden in flour, working silently until the whole is leavened. Let the world have its roar. You, my friend, must learn to listen to the whisper. It is in the silence that the Father speaks your name. 14. The clarity of the single eye. Anxiety about conspiracies and hidden agendas comes from a divided focus. We look at God, then we look at the world, and our vision becomes blurred with double-mindedness. The mark of loyalty takes root when our eye is not single. When your vision is fixed solely on Christ, the shadows of the world lose their power to terrify you. The lamp of the body is the eye, he taught them in the courtyard. If therefore your eye is good, your whole body will be full of light. But if your eye is bad, your whole body will be full of darkness. Philip asked, "Lord, how do we keep our eye good when there is so much darkness around us?" "By not looking at the darkness as if it has power," Jesus replied. "If you stare at the storm, you will sink. If you stare at the wolf, you will run. Fix your eyes on me. When your eye is single, focused only on the Good Shepherd, the darkness becomes merely the backdrop for my light." 15. The illusion of the majority. In the end times, it is said that all the world will follow the beast. This creates a fear of being the outsider, the minority. But truth has never been a popularity contest. The crowd chose Barabbas, the crowd chose Caesar. To be sealed by God is to be comfortable standing alone, knowing that one with God is always a majority. "Enter by the narrow gate," he said, his voice cutting through the murmurs of the multitude. "For wide is the gate, and broad is the way that leads to destruction, and there are many who go in by it." Judas, always calculating the numbers, whispered, "But Lord, if the way is difficult and few find it, will we not be overwhelmed? The Romans are legion. We are but 12. Jesus looked at the small band of brothers. "Do not fear, little flock, for it is your Father's good pleasure to give you the kingdom. Do not count heads, Judas. Count hearts. 1,000 men running toward a cliff are not as strong as one man standing on the rock." 16. The authority of servanthood. The beast represents power over others, coercion, force, and dominance. The lamb represents power sansuo, under others, service, sacrifice, and humility. We fear the mark of the beast because we fear losing power. But if we choose the way of the lamb, we operate in an authority the world cannot understand or strip away. The mother of James and John knelt before him. "Grant that these 2 sons of mine may sit, one on your right hand and the other on the left, in your kingdom." The other 10 were indignant. Jesus called them all together. "You know that the rulers of the Gentiles lord it over them, and those who are great exercise authority over them. Yet it shall not be so among you. Whoever desires to be first among you, let him be your slave. The world marks its powerful with crowns and armies. I mark my own with a towel and a basin. If you serve, you are already free from the desire to rule, and the beast has no hook in your jaw." 17. The end of transactional religion. Many fear the mark because they view their relationship with God as a contract. I do this, God protects me. But God desires a covenant of love, not a contract of insurance. The mark of the world is transactional, buying and selling. The seal of God is relational, giving and receiving. He entered the temple and saw the tables of the money changers, turning faith into a marketplace. With a whip of cords, he drove them out. "Take these things away. Do not make my Father's house a house of merchandise." Later, breathing heavily, he sat with the disciples. They think they can buy God's favor, like they buy a dove. They think safety is something to be purchased. You cannot buy the Holy Spirit, and you cannot sell your soul if it truly belongs to me. The world deals in transactions. The kingdom deals in transformation. Love me for who I am, not for what I can do for you, and you will never be deceived. 18. The peace of the present moment. Apocalyptic fear traps us in the future, a future that has not happened and may not happen as we imagine. The mark is a future threat, but grace is a present reality. Jesus constantly pulled his disciples back to the now, for God is the I am, not the I will be. Therefore, do not worry about tomorrow, for tomorrow will worry about its own things, he said, holding a loaf of bread. But Lord, Bartholomew asked, the prophets speak of wars and rumors of wars. How can we not worry about what is coming? Jesus broke the bread and handed a piece to him. Bartholomew, can you eat tomorrow's bread today? No, Lord. Then do not try to carry tomorrow's trouble today. Sufficient for the day is its own trouble. Grace is like this bread, it is given daily. When the time of trial comes, the grace will be there. To live in the future is to live in a phantom world. Live here, with me, now. 19. The inwardness of the kingdom. We look for the beast in government buildings and tech companies, but the spirit of the Antichrist, the spirit that opposes Christ, is found wherever pride and hatred exist. We look outward for the enemy, but Jesus taught us to look inward for the kingdom. If the kingdom is within you, no external mark can displace it. The Pharisees asked when the kingdom of God would come, expecting a military revolution against Rome. He answered them, "The kingdom of God does not come with observation, nor will they say, 'See here,' or 'See there.' For indeed, the kingdom of God is within you." Later, he explained to the disciples, "They are looking for a change of regime. I am bringing a change of heart. If you wait for the world to look like heaven, you will wait in vain. But if you let heaven rule in your heart, you can walk through the darkest empire and still be in the kingdom." 20. The deception of signs and wonders. We are warned that the beast will perform great signs to deceive. Today we are easily mesmerized by technology and spectacle. But Jesus warned that a faith built on miracles is a shaky foundation. The true seal of God is not a spectacular sign, but the quiet fruit of the Spirit. "Teacher, we want to see a sign from you," the scribes demanded. Jesus sighed deeply in his spirit. "An evil and adulterous generation seeks after a sign. You see the sun rise, you see the sick healed, and yet you want magic tricks. If your faith depends on seeing fire call down from heaven, you will be deceived when the false prophet calls down fire. Do not look for the spectacular, look for the fruit. Love, joy, peace, patience. These are the signs that cannot be counterfeited by the devil. 21. The courage to be misunderstood. To refuse the mark of the world is to be labeled a misfit, a rebel, or a fool. Fear of social ostracization drives many to compromise. But Jesus walked the path of being misunderstood by his family, his community, and his leaders. He taught that the approval of God is worth the rejection of a world. His brothers came to him, mocking him. "Leave here and go into Judea. that your disciples also may see the works that you do. No one does anything in secret while he himself seeks to be known openly." Jesus looked at them with pity. "My time has not yet come, but your time is always ready. The world cannot hate you, but it hates me, because I testify of it that its works are evil. Blessed are you when they revile and persecute you. Do not fear being an outcast. The prophets were outcasts. I am an outcast. If you fit in perfectly with this world, you must ask yourself whose mark you are truly bearing." 22. The liberation from more. The system of the beast is built on greed, the insatiable desire for more. The mark allows you to buy and sell, to accumulate. Jesus taught the radical philosophy of enough. When you are content with simple things, the beast loses his primary leverage over you. A man in the crowd shouted, "Teacher, tell my brother to divide the inheritance with me." Jesus replied sternly, "Man, who made me a judge or an arbitrator over you? Take heed and beware of covetousness, for one's life does not consist in the abundance of the things he possesses." Turning to the disciples, he added, "The world says more is better. I say less is freedom. The birds have no barns, yet God feeds them. If you break the chains of greed, you break the power of the empire. You cannot threaten a man who needs nothing but God." 23. The indestructible hope. Modern doom-mongering sells despair. It paints a picture of a hopeless future where evil wins until the very last second. But Jesus preached a gospel of good news. Even when speaking of the end, his focus was on the redemption drawing near. Hope is not wishful thinking. It is a spiritual weapon. "There will be signs in the sun, in the moon, and in the stars," he said, describing the shaking of the heavens. "Men's hearts failing them all from a fuel, and the expectation of those things which are coming on the earth." Peter looked anxious. "Lord, how shall we stand?" Jesus smiled, a look of triumphant strength. "Now when these things begin to happen, look up and lift up your heads, because your redemption draws near. The world looks down in fear. You look up in hope. The labor pains are not the sign of death, Peter. They are the sign of birth. A new world is coming." 24. The wisdom of the serpent. We are often told to simply have faith and ignore what is happening in the world. But Jesus did not call for ignorance. He called for discernment. We must understand the technology and the politics of our day, the Nero of our time, without being swallowed by them. Ignorance is not holiness. Awareness is. "Behold, I send you out as sheep in the midst of wolves," he told the 12 as he sent them forth. "Therefore be wise as serpents and harmless as doves." Thomas asked, "Wise as serpents, Lord? Are serpents not evil?" "The serpent watches," Jesus said. "It knows where the danger is. It does not strike, but it does not walk blindly into the trap. Do not be naive. Understand the times you live in. Recognize the traps of the enemy, not to fear them, but to step around them. Your mind is a gift. Use it." 25. The finality of love. The mark is a symbol of ultimate selfishness, saving one's own skin. The seal is a symbol of ultimate love, laying down one's life. In the end, the only thing that distinguishes the children of light from the children of darkness is love. Not knowledge, not prophecy, but love. "By this all will know that you are my disciples, if you have love for one another," he said at the Last Supper. "Not by our miracles?" asked Philip. "Not by our knowledge of the Scriptures?" "No," Jesus answered softly. "The world has miracles, and the devil knows the Scriptures, But the world does not know self-sacrificing love. That is my signature. That is my mark. If you have prophecy and understand all mysteries, but have not love, you are nothing. The mark of the beast is hatred. The seal of God is love. 26. The permanence of the word. We fear that digital censorship or changing laws will erase the truth. We worry about Bibles being banned. But Jesus reminded us that truth is not just written on paper or stored on servers. It is woven into the fabric of reality. You cannot erase what is eternal. Heaven and earth will pass away, but my words will by no means pass away, he declared as they looked at the magnificent stones of the temple. Lord, Andrew pointed at the massive walls. These stones look like they will stand forever. They will be dust, Jesus said. Every empire, every library, every server of data will turn to dust. But the truth I have planted in your hearts is eternal seed. Do not fear the book burners or the censors. They can burn the paper, but they cannot burn the spirit. You are the living epistles. 27. The trap of offense. Jesus warned that in the last days, many will be offended and will betray one another. The path to receiving the mark often begins with offense, getting angry at God, at the church, or at neighbors. A heart full of bitterness is soft clay for the enemy's seal. And then many will be offended, will betray one another, and will hate one another, he prophesied on the Mount of Olives. How do we prevent this, Lord? John asked. Forgive, Jesus said simply. When you stand praying, if you have anything against anyone, forgive him. Offense is a trap door. It opens your heart to the spirit of the accuser. Keep your heart free from bitterness, and you keep it free from the enemy's claim. 28. The unshakable kingdom. We panic when we see economies wobble and governments shake. We act as if our kingdom is being threatened. But Jesus came to establish a kingdom that is not of this world, and therefore cannot be shaken by the events of this world. Pilate asked him, "Are you the king of the Jews?" Jesus answered, "My kingdom is not of this world. If my kingdom were of this world, my servants would fight, so that I should not be delivered to the Jews. But now my kingdom is not from here." Later, he told the disciples, "In the world you will have tribulation, but be of good cheer, I have overcome the world." Do not try to shore up the crumbling walls of Rome. You belong to a city whose builder and maker is God. Let the earth shake. Your foundation is in heaven. 29. The simplicity of trust. Complex conspiracy theories require complex mental gymnastics. The gospel is beautifully simple. We often exhaust ourselves trying to connect every news headline to a Bible verse. Jesus called us to the simplicity of a child. At that time the disciples came to Jesus, saying, "Who then is greatest in the kingdom of heaven?" Then Jesus called a little child to him, set him in the midst of them, and said, "Assuredly, I say to you, unless you are converted and become as little children, you will by no means enter the kingdom of heaven." He looked at their furrowed brows, worried about status and the future. This child does not worry about where his next meal comes from. He trusts his Father. The mysteries of the end are too heavy for you to carry. Put them down. Trust your Father. That is the only theology you truly need to survive the night. 30. The promise of presence. Finally, the ultimate antidote to the fear of the mark, or the Antichrist, is not an escape plan, but a presence. The promise is not, "I will take you out before it gets bad," but "I will be with you through it all. All authority has been given to me in heaven and on earth," he said on the mountain before he ascended. He looked at the 11 ordinary men facing a hostile world. He did not give them a map of the future. He gave them himself. And lo, I am with you always, even to the end of the age. He paused, letting the words sink into their souls. Always. In the fire, I am there. In the lion's den, I am there. Under the reign of Nero, or in the distant future you cannot yet see, I am there. You are never alone. And because I am with you, you have nothing to fear. Here are philosophies 31 through 50. These continue to bridge the gap between the ancient warnings of prophecy and the timeless, comforting voice of the Savior, offering a sanctuary of peace in a world obsessed with fear. 31. The weapon of kindness. The spirit of the beast is cruel. It crushes the weak to build its empire. We often think we must fight this cruelty with aggression, but Jesus taught that the only force capable of breaking the cycle of evil is unexpected kindness. The mark hardens the heart, the seal softens it. Walking through Samaria, James and John were offended when a village refused to welcome them. "Lord," they shouted, "do you want us to command fire to come down from heaven and consume them, just as Elijah did?" Jesus turned and rebuked them. "You do not know what manner of spirit you are of, for the Son of Man did not come to destroy men's lives, but to save them." He walked on to another village. "Violence is the language of the empire," he told them as they walked. "If you answer hate with fire, you have already joined the enemy's kingdom. Overcome evil with good, and you remain free." 32. The freedom of the Sabbath rest. The number 666 is the number of man, forever working, striving, and accumulating, never reaching the perfection of 7. The beast's system is a 24/7 economy that demands constant production. Jesus offers the Sabbath, a radical declaration that our worth is not in what we produce or buy, but in who we are. On the Sabbath, his disciples plucked heads of grain to eat, and the Pharisees accused them of breaking the law. "The Sabbath was made for man, and not man for the Sabbath," Jesus declared. He looked at the weary faces around him, people ground down by the demands of Rome and religion. "Come to me, all you who labor and are heavy laden, and I will give you rest. Take my yoke upon you and learn from me, for I am gentle and lowly in heart, and you will find rest for your souls. The world demands your sweat. I offer you my peace." 33. The fallacy of us versus them. Fear makes us tribal. We look for who has the mark and who doesn't, drawing lines to exclude others. But the beast seeks to divide, while the shepherd seeks to gather. To operate in the Spirit of Christ is to see a potential brother in every enemy. A lawyer stood up to test him, asking, "And who is my neighbor?" trying to limit who he had to love. Jesus told the story of the Good Samaritan, how the religious leaders walked past the wounded man, but the enemy stopped to help. "Which of these 3 do you think was neighbor to him who fell among the thieves?" Jesus asked. "He who showed mercy on him," the lawyer replied. "Go and do likewise," Jesus said. "The world divides people into tribes and enemies. In my kingdom, there is no them, there is only us. If you limit your love, you limit God's presence in your life." 34. The trap of judgment. In times of fear, we become self-appointed judges, scanning others for signs of betrayal. But the authority to judge belongs only to the one who knows the heart. When we judge, we sit in Caesar's seat, not at Jesus' feet. The scribes brought a woman caught in adultery, throwing her down in the dust. Moses says to stone her. What do you say? Jesus bent down and wrote in the sand, ignoring their bloodlust. Finally, he stood. "He who is without sin among you, let him throw a stone at her first." One by one, the accusers left, convicted by their own conscience. Jesus looked at the woman. "Woman, where are those accusers of yours? Has no one condemned you?" "No one, Lord." "Neither do I condemn you. Go and sin no more. Judgment is a heavy burden, meant only for God's shoulders. Do not carry it, or it will crush you." 35. The strength of humility. The beast is described as speaking great pompous words. It represents the height of human pride. We think we need to be loud and strong to survive. But Jesus taught that the way up is down. Humility is not weakness. It is the only stance that cannot be knocked over. He noticed how the guests chose the best places at the table. "When you are invited," he told them, "go and sit down in the lowest place, for whoever exalts himself will be humbled, and he who humbles himself will be exalted." Later, he whispered to Peter, "The empires of this world are built on pride, and they always fall because pride is top-heavy. My kingdom is built on humility. It is the foundation that can never be shaken. Be small in your own eyes, and you will be safe in mine." 36. The illusion of control. Conspiracy theories thrive because we are terrified of losing control. We think if we decode the mark, we can outsmart the future. But Jesus taught the radical surrender of control. We do not need to know the future. We need to know the Father. "Which of you by worrying can add 1 cubit to his stature?" he asked the multitude. "If you then are not able to do the least, why are you anxious for the rest?" He picked up a sparrow that had fallen. "Are not 5 sparrows sold for 2 copper coins? And not one of them is forgotten before God. But the very hairs of your head are all numbered. Do not fear, therefore. You are of more value than many sparrows. You cannot control the wind, but you are held by the one who created it." 37. The truth sets you free. Propaganda and lies are the tools of the beast. In an age of information warfare, we are easily enslaved by falsehoods. The antidote to the mark is not just knowledge, but truth, and truth is a person. "If you abide in my word, you are my disciples indeed," he said to the Jews who believed him. "And you shall know the truth, and the truth shall make you free." We are Abraham's descendants, and have never been in bondage to anyone, they argued. "Most assuredly, I say to you, whoever commits sin is a slave of sin," Jesus answered. "The world offers you facts, rumors, and secrets. I offer you truth. Facts change like the weather. Truth stands like a mountain. Abide in me, and no lie can bind you." 38. The courage of non-resistance. The natural reaction to the beast is to fight back with swords and guns. But Jesus introduced a weapon that disarms the enemy by refusing to play by his rules. When we refuse to hate, we render the enemy's power useless. You have heard that it was said, "An eye for an eye, and a tooth for a tooth," he taught on the mountainside. "But I tell you not to resist an evil person. But whoever slaps you on your right cheek, turn the other to him also." Simon the Zealot, clutching his dagger, looked confused. "But Lord, that is surrender." "No, Simon," Jesus corrected. "It is defiance. When you return a blow, you acknowledge his power over you. When you turn the cheek, you show that his violence cannot touch your spirit. You are free from his reaction. That is true power." 39. The value of the one. Systems, like the Roman Empire or modern data giants, deal in statistics. To them, you are just a number, like 626. To Jesus, you are an individual. He leaves the 99 to find the one. You are never just a statistic in God's eyes. What man of you, having 100 sheep, if he loses one of them, does not leave the 99 in the wilderness and go after the one which is lost until he finds it? He looked at the outcasts and sinners gathering around him. The world counts crowds. I count souls. The beast may want to number the masses, but I call my sheep by name. You are known, you are seen, and you are sought after. 40. The bread of life versus the bread of Rome. The mark controls who can buy and sell food. It threatens hunger. But Jesus reminded us that we are spiritual beings. We can survive with empty stomachs, but we cannot exist with empty souls. I am the bread of life, he declared to the crowd that had followed him, just to get fed. Your fathers ate the manna in the wilderness and are dead. I am the living bread which came down from heaven. If anyone eats of this bread, he will live forever. But we are hungry now, they grumbled. Do not labor for the food which perishes, Jesus urged. The empire can threaten your pantry, but it cannot touch the feast I have prepared for your spirit. Eat of me, and you shall never hunger for what matters most. 41. The power of forgiveness. The ultimate chain that binds us to the world is bitterness. If we hate the beast, we are bound to it. Forgiveness cuts the cord. It is the most powerful act of spiritual warfare because it breaks the cycle of vengeance. Peter asked, Lord, how often shall my brother sin against me, and I forgive him? Up to 7 times? I do not say to you, up to 7 times, but up to 70 times 7, Jesus replied. He told the parable of the unforgiving servant. If you do not forgive men their trespasses, neither will your Father forgive your trespasses. To hold a grudge is to wear the enemy's chains. Forgive, not because they deserve it, but because you deserve to be free. 42. The rejection of the world's glory. The devil offered Jesus all the kingdoms of the world if he would just bow down. That is the essence of the mark, worship for glory. Jesus rejected it because he knew the glory of this world is a fading flower. The devil took him up on an exceedingly high mountain and showed him all the kingdoms of the world and their glory. All these things I will give you if you will fall down and worship me. Away with you, Satan, Jesus commanded. For it is written, you shall worship the Lord your God, and him only you shall serve. He later told his disciples, for what profit is it to a man if he gains the whole world and loses his own soul? Do not envy the power of Rome or the wealth of the merchants. It is dust. Keep your soul, for it is the only thing that lasts. 43. The light in the darkness. We often ask God to remove us from the darkness, pre-tribulation escape. But Jesus prayed not that we would be taken out of the world, but that we would be kept from the evil one. We are meant to be bioluminescent, shining brightest when the night is darkest. I do not pray that you should take them out of the world, but that you should keep them from the evil one, he prayed in the garden. As you sent me into the world, I also have sent them into the world. He looked at his frightened friends. You are the light of the world. A lamp is not lit to be put under a basket. Do not fear the gathering gloom. It is merely the stage for your light to shine. Be brave. Stay. 44. The assurance of adoption. The mark marks you as a slave to the system. The seal marks you as a son or daughter of the king. A slave fears the master. A child trusts the father. Your security lies in your adoption. I will not leave you orphans. I will come to you, he promised. In my Father's house are many mansions. If it were not so, I would have told you. I go to prepare a place for you." "You are not hirelings," he reminded them. "A hireling runs when the wolf comes because he does not care for the sheep. You are children. The Father does not abandon his children when the night falls. You belong to the household of God." 45. The holiness of the body. We fear the mark defiling our bodies. But Jesus taught that our bodies are temples of the Holy Spirit. If the Spirit dwells within, the temple is occupied. The enemy cannot squat in a house that is filled with the glory of God. "Destroy this temple, and in 3 days I will raise it up," he said, speaking of his body. To the disciples he taught, "Abide in me, and I in you." If the Spirit of truth dwells in you, you are a walking sanctuary, he implied. The world may scar the outside walls, but they cannot enter the Holy of Holies. Your heart is his throne. Keep it pure, and no external mark can pollute it. 46. The finality of "it is finished." We live in anxiety, wondering if evil will win. But on the cross, Jesus declared, "It is finished." The war is over. We are just living in the clean-up operation. The beast has already been defeated. Hanging on the cross, gasping for air, he did not cry out in defeat, but in victory. "Tetelestai, it is finished." Before that, he told the disciples, "In the world you will have tribulation, but be of good cheer, I have overcome the world." The victory is not pending, he whispers to us today. It is past tense. The check has been cashed. The enemy is fighting a lost war. Stand in my victory, not in your fear. 47. The simplicity of the yoke. The system of the world is complicated. Passwords, codes, taxes, laws. The mark represents a heavy burden of compliance. Jesus offers a simple yoke. Complexity often breeds fear. Simplicity breeds peace. "Take my yoke upon you, for my yoke is easy, and my burden is light," he invited. The Pharisees laid heavy burdens on men's shoulders, hard to bear. "Woe to you," Jesus said to them. "You shut up the kingdom of heaven against men." To the common people he said, "Life in the kingdom is simple. Love God, love your neighbor. Do not let the scribes entangle you in complex knots. Walk simply, and you will walk freely." 48. The watchman, not the warrior. Jesus told us to watch and pray, not worry and panic. There is a difference. A watchman is alert, calm, and prepared. A worrier is distracted, anxious, and useless. But of that day and hour no one knows, not even the angels in heaven, nor the Son, but only the Father, he said on the Mount of Olives. Take heed, watch and pray. Therefore you also be ready, for the Son of Man is coming at an hour you do not expect. He touched their eyes. Keep your lamps burning, not because you are afraid of the dark, but because you are excited for the bridegroom. Watch with anticipation, not with terror. 49. The unity of the flock. The wolf attacks the sheep that strays from the flock. The beast system thrives on isolation. Our safety is found in community, in one another. The mark is an individual choice. The seal is a communal reality. A new commandment I give to you, that you love one another, as I have loved you, he said. By this all will know that you are my disciples, if you have love for one another. Stay together, he urged. When you break bread, when you pray, when you share your goods, you create a fortress that Rome cannot breach. Your unity is your shield. 50. The Alpha and the Omega. We fear the end, but Jesus reminds us that he is the end. The future is not a date on a calendar. It is a person waiting to embrace us. We do not move toward an apocalypse. We move toward Christ. I am the Alpha and the Omega, the first and the last, he proclaimed in the vision to John. He stood among the lampstands, holding the stars in his hand. Do not be afraid. I am the first and the last. I am he who lives and was dead, and behold, I am alive forevermore. Amen. And I have the keys of Hades and of death. The story does not end with a beast, he assures us. It ends with a lamb. It ends with me. And because I hold the keys, no one can lock you out of my presence. Here are philosophies, 51 through 70. These entries delve deeper into the psychological and spiritual battles we face today. Surveillance, identity, and the fear of the unknown, anchoring them in the eternal reassurances of Christ. 51. The eye that watches versus the eye that loves. We live in the age of surveillance. Cameras, trackers, and data collection create a fear that Big Brother is always watching, akin to the all-seeing eye of the beast's system. But Jesus taught of a different kind of watching. The world watches to control and condemn. The Father watches to protect and provide. To fear being watched is the spirit of a slave. To rejoice in being seen is the spirit of a son. Nathanael was sitting under a fig tree, hidden from the road, wrestling with his private thoughts about God and the state of Israel. He thought he was invisible. When Philip brought him to Jesus, the Master smiled warmly. Behold, an Israelite indeed, in whom is no deceit. Nathanael was startled. How do you know me? Jesus answered, Before Philip called you, when you were under the fig tree, I saw you. Nathanael's fear vanished, replaced by awe. Rabbi, you are the Son of God. You are surprised that I saw you, Jesus asked gently. The kings of this world watch you to tax you. My Father watches you to love you. You are never hidden from his sight, and that is your greatest safety. 52. The identity that cannot be hacked. The mark is an identity theft. It replaces the name of God with the number of a man. We fear losing our identity to a digital system. But Jesus reminds us that our true name is written in a place that no hacker, no government, and no beast can access. The Book of Life. The 70 disciples returned with joy, saying, Lord, even the demons are subject to us in your name. They were proud of their spiritual power and status. Jesus checked their pride. I saw Satan fall like lightning from heaven. Behold, I give you the authority to trample on serpents and scorpions. Nevertheless, do not rejoice in this, that the spirits are subject to you, but rather rejoice because your names are written in heaven. He pointed to the sky. Caesar writes names in a census to own people. I write your name in heaven to free you. Ink fades, stone crumbles, but what is written in my Father's book is eternal. Your identity is safe. 53. The danger of the secret knowledge. Gnosticism, the idea that salvation comes through secret codes and hidden knowledge, threatens the simplicity of the gospel. Many scour the internet for secret intel on the end times, thinking this special knowledge will save them. Jesus taught that the kingdom is revealed to the humble, not the smart. I thank you, Father, Lord of heaven and earth, that you have hidden these things from the wise and prudent, and have revealed them to babes. Jesus prayed aloud, his face turned upward. The Pharisees stood nearby, clutching their scrolls of complex laws and genealogies. Jesus turned to the common people, fishermen, mothers, farmers. The scholars think the key to heaven is a riddle to be solved. They burden you with complexities. But I tell you, unless you receive the kingdom of God as a little child, you will by no means enter it. Salvation is not a puzzle. It is a person. If you know me, you know enough. 54. The futility of hoarding. Fear of the future leads to hoarding, stockpiling food, gold, and resources against the day of the mark. While wisdom prepares, fear hoards. The beast system is built on accumulation. The kingdom is built on daily trust. The manna in the wilderness rotted if kept overnight. God wants us to trust him for today. "Teacher, bid my brother divide the inheritance with me," a man demanded. Jesus told them a parable of a rich man whose ground yielded plentifully. He said, "I will pull down my barns and build greater, and say to my soul, 'Soul, you have many goods laid up for many years. Take your ease.'" Jesus' voice dropped to a whisper. But God said to him, "Fool, this night your soul will be required of you. Then whose will those things be?" He looked at his disciples. "Life is more than food, and the body is more than clothing. Consider the ravens, for they neither sow nor reap, yet God feeds them. Do not build barns for fear. Build a table for generosity." 55. The peace in the storm of information. We are drowning in rumors, wars, conspiracies, economic collapses. This flood of information is a tactic of the enemy to breed confusion. Jesus slept in the storm. He showed us that the authority to calm the chaos comes from an internal stillness, not from analyzing the waves. "There will be signs," he said, "distress of nations with perplexity, the sea and the waves roaring." Andrew asked, "Lord, when the waves roar, how do we hear your voice?" "The waves roar to distract you," Jesus replied. "The enemy is loud because he is frightened. Do not shout back at the storm. Speak peace. Peace is not the absence of the storm. It is the presence of God within it. If I am in the boat, the storm is merely a pathway for your faith. 56. The false security of the crowd. The mark is a tool of mass conformity. It pressures you to do what everyone else is doing to survive. The pressure to conform is the beast's gravity. Jesus calls us to be salt, distinct, different, and preserving. Salt that loses its flavor, conforms, is useless. "You are the salt of the earth," he told them. "But if the salt loses its flavor, how shall it be seasoned? It is then good for nothing but to be thrown out and trampled underfoot by men." "Is it not safer to blend in, Lord?" Thaddeus asked. "To be like the earth so we are not trampled?" "No," Jesus said. "If you blend in, you disappear. You are called to be different. The world is rotting with fear. You must be the preservative of faith. Do not apologize for your distinctiveness. It is the only thing that arrests the decay. 57. The freedom from what if. What if they cut off my bank account? What if I can't buy food? These hypotheticals paralyze us. Jesus taught us to live in the now. The grace of God is not given for imaginary future scenarios. It is given for the reality of the present moment. "Therefore do not worry about tomorrow," he said, holding a wild flower. "But Lord," Thomas interjected, "tomorrow brings the tax collector. And tomorrow will bring the grace to deal with him," Jesus answered. "You are dragging next year's clouds into today's sky. That is why you are dark. Live in this moment. Is God faithful right now? Is he feeding you right now? Then he will be faithful when the sun rises tomorrow. I am is my name, not I was or I might be. 58. The compassion that casts out fear. Fear makes us selfish. We think only of our own survival. Love makes us brave. We think of the survival of others. The antidote to the spirit of the Antichrist is the spirit of self-sacrificing love. When you are busy loving your neighbor, you have no time to fear the beast. Teacher, which is the great commandment in the law? Jesus answered without hesitation, You shall love the Lord your God with all your heart. And the second is like it. You shall love your neighbor as yourself. He looked at the anxious faces. Perfect love casts out fear. When you are terrified, it is because you are thinking of yourself, your safety, your life, your comfort. Start thinking of your neighbor. Serve someone. Feed someone. In the act of loving, fear evaporates like mist in the sun. 59. The true definition of tribulation. We often view tribulation as a sign of God's absence or the beast's victory. But Jesus taught that tribulation is the soil in which the kingdom grows. It is not an accident, it is a refining fire. We are not saved from tribulation, we are saved in it. In the world you will have tribulation, he stated plainly. The disciples looked downcast. They wanted a conquering king, not a suffering one. But be of good cheer, Jesus added, his voice rising in triumph. I have overcome the world. Lord, why must we suffer? Philip asked. The olive must be pressed to yield its oil, Jesus explained. The grape must be crushed to yield its wine. Do not despise the pressing, Philip. The world means it for your destruction, but I use it for your perfection. The beast crushes to kill. I press to create. 60. The authority of the name. The beast has a number, 666, but the believer has a name. The name of Jesus is not a magic word, but an authority, a legal standing in the court of heaven. When we operate in his name, no number can claim ownership over us. The 70 returned, joyful that demons obeyed them. Jesus reminded them of the source. I give you the authority over all the power of the enemy, and nothing shall by any means hurt you. Is your name a shield, Lord? James asked. It is a strong tower, Jesus replied. The righteous run into it and are safe. The world has its codes, its passwords, and its marks. But the name of the Father is higher than any name named in this age or the age to come. If you carry my name, you are marked by the King of Kings. What can a mere number do to you? 61. The danger of spiritual pride. Some believers feel superior because they think they have decoded the prophecies, looking down on the ignorant masses. But the spirit of the beast is arrogance. To fight the beast with arrogance is to become him. We must remain humble, knowing that we see through a glass darkly. He spoke a parable to some who trusted in themselves that they were righteous and despised others. 2 men went up to the temple to pray, one a Pharisee and the other a tax collector. The Pharisee thanked God he was not like other men. The tax collector beat his breast, asking for mercy. I tell you, Jesus said, this man went down to his house justified rather than the other. For everyone who exalts himself will be humbled. Do not boast in your knowledge of the end times. Boast only in the mercy of God. A humble heart is the only thing the devil cannot imitate. 62. The permanence of the soul. The beast can touch the body. He can imprison, starve, or kill. But Jesus reminded us that the soul is untouchable by human hands. The ultimate freedom is knowing that your essential self belongs to God and is beyond the reach of any biometric scanner. And do not fear those who kill the body, but cannot kill the soul, he taught in the courtyard. But rather fear him who is able to destroy both soul and body in hell. They have swords, Lord, Peter whispered. The sword can only cut the flesh, Jesus said, touching Peter's chest. The real you, the man inside, is eternal. If you fear men, you give them power over your soul. If you fear God, you are free from the fear of men. They can take your life, Peter, but they can never take your life in me. 63. The sanctuary of truth. Lies are the atmosphere of the beast's kingdom. Fake news and deception are not new. They are the ancient tools of the enemy. The seal of God is a love for the truth. When we refuse to participate in lies, even small ones, we break the system's power over us. You are of your father, the devil, Jesus told the religious leaders who plotted against him. He was a murderer from the beginning, and does not stand in the truth, because there is no truth in him. When he speaks a lie, he speaks from his own resources, for he is a liar and the father of it. Turning to his followers, he said, "Let your yes be yes, and your no, no. Anything more than this comes from the evil one. Do not weave webs of deceit to survive. Stand in the simple, naked truth. It is the armor that no arrow can pierce." 64. The invitation to the wedding feast. Apocalyptic teaching often focuses on a battlefield. Jesus focused on a wedding feast. The end of history is not a nuclear explosion, but a marriage supper. We should look forward to the future, not with dread, like a soldier going to war, but with anticipation, like a bride waiting for her groom. The kingdom of heaven is like a certain king who arranged a marriage for his son, he told the parable. Sent out his servants to call those who were invited to the wedding, and they were not willing to come. He looked at the disciples. The world is busy buying land, testing oxen, and marrying wives. They are too busy for the feast. Do not let the anxieties of the mark keep you from the joy of the invitation. The Spirit and the bride say, "Come." Live your life in preparation for a celebration, not a funeral. 65. The stewardship of the moment. We often freeze in fear, waiting for the end. But Jesus told parables of stewardship, of occupying until he comes. We are not to sit on a hill and watch the sky. We are to be in the field working. The best way to prepare for his coming is to be busy with his business. A certain nobleman went into a far country to receive for himself a kingdom and to return. So he called 10 of his servants, delivered to them 10 minas, and said to them, "Do business till I come." Lord, should we not hide the money to keep it safe? One might ask. No, Jesus would reply. Fear buries the talent in the ground. Faith puts it to work. Do not let the fear of the future paralyze your present obedience. Build, plant, love, and serve. Blessed is that servant whom his master, when he comes, will find so doing. 66. The freedom from the accuser. The word devil means accuser. The spirit of the age accuses us constantly. Not good enough, not safe enough, not prepared enough. The mark creates a system of constant accusation and social credit. Jesus offers the advocate. The blood of the Lamb silences the accusation. Simon, Simon, indeed Satan has asked for you, that he may sift you as wheat, Jesus warned Peter. Peter looked terrified. Will he destroy me? But I have prayed for you, that your faith should not fail, Jesus assured him. The enemy accuses, but I advocate. He points out your weakness. I point to my blood. When the voices of the world tell you that you are condemned, listen to my voice. I do not condemn you. I keep you. 67. The unveiling of the heart. Tribulation does not create character. It reveals it. The pressure of the end times merely squeezes out what is already inside. The mark reveals a heart already loyal to the world. The seal reveals a heart already loyal to God. For there is nothing covered that will not be revealed, nor hidden that will not be known, he taught. What you have spoken in the dark will be heard in the light. Lord, that sounds frightening, James said. Only to those who wear a mask, Jesus replied. If your heart is pure, the light is your friend. Do not fear the time of testing. It is simply the time of revealing. If you love me, now in the quiet, you will love me then in the fire. You are who you are. 68. The gift of daily bread. The beast controls the global economy. Jesus teaches the microeconomy of the kingdom. Give us this day our daily bread. It is a reliance on God for the immediate need, breaking the addiction to long-term security that the world offers. Give us this day our daily bread, he taught them to pray. Why only for today, Lord? Why not for the year? Because if you have bread for a year, you will forget God for a year, Jesus said. I want you to know the Father's hand. The world promises security through stockpiles. I promise security through relationship. As long as you are a child, the Father will have bread. Trust for today. 69. The victory of the Lamb. In Revelation, the Lion of Judah is revealed as a lamb that was slain. This is the paradox of the kingdom. We conquer not by killing, but by dying. We overcome the beast, not by becoming a bigger beast, but by the blood of the Lamb and the word of our testimony. My sheep hear my voice, and I know them, and they follow me, he said in Solomon's porch. And I give them eternal life, and they shall never perish, neither shall anyone snatch them out of my hand. He held up his hand, soon to be pierced. The world conquers with the fist. I conquer with the open hand. They may kill you, but they cannot conquer you. For in my kingdom, death is not the end. It is the door. The Lamb wins by sacrifice. Follow me, and you win too. 70. The final word is life. The message of 666 ends in death. The message of Jesus ends in resurrection. No matter how dark the prophecy, the final chapter is always life. We are not a people of the doom. We are the people of the dawn. I am the resurrection and the life. He who believes in me, though he may die, he shall live, Jesus told Martha as she wept for Lazarus. Do you believe this? He asked her, and he asks us today. The grain could not hold me. The empire could not stop me. The seal on my tomb was broken. Do not fear the seals of men or the marks of beasts. I have the keys of death and Hades. The night may be long, but the morning star is rising. And because I live, you will live also. We have traveled from the dark history of Nero to the timeless light of Christ's teachings. We have seen that the mark is not a piece of technology to be feared, but a loyalty to be chosen. And the seal of God is not a physical stamp, but a transformative love that dwells within you. Jesus did not give us these prophecies to terrify us into bunkers. He gave them to us so that when the world shakes, we would remain standing, not in arrogance, but in the quiet confidence of a child who knows their Father holds the future. You do not need to fear the future. You do not need to fear a number, because you belong to the one who is the Alpha and the Omega. Live your life today. Love your family. Serve your neighbor. That is the only seal that truly matters. If this message brought you the peace of mind you have been searching for, please hit the like button. It helps us spread this message of hope to millions of others who are still living in fear. And do not keep this peace to yourself. Share this video with a friend or a loved one who needs to hear that they are safe in God's hands. But our journey through the book of Revelation is just beginning. You have heard of the 4 horsemen of the apocalypse: war, famine, plague, death. Are they coming in the future? Or have they been riding among us all along? The answer might surprise you. Make sure you represent the kingdom by hitting subscribe and clicking the notification bell so you don't miss our next revelation. Unveiling the truth, restoring hope. God bless you. 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 God bless you.